Hey, what's up, everybody? Happy Thursday. As you can see, I am solo right now, but my other co-hosts and the contributing hosts, they will be joining me shortly. So welcome to today's episode of Let's Do This Talk Radio Show. So today we have a great topic. While we're going to be focusing a lot on credit, and Chanay Robinson, who is our residential credit diva guru, she's going to be joining us, and she's going to be talking to us about credit. And so the whole topic, I took it from her article, from despair to repair. So she's going to be talking about credit, but we're going to be talking about a whole lot of different stuff. So as you know, the purpose of our show was really intended for entrepreneurs. But over the past month, as I said, we have been talking about a whole bunch of different things that affect individuals as a whole. So we're going to continue on that pathway, and we're going to continue talking about that. So Trina is out, and she's going to be joining me in, and so I'll start with my intro, and then she can pick up and add hers on. So for me, I'm your girl, Ladrine Peterson, and I'm the CEO and founder of Delivering on Ideas and Thoughts, Do It. And in that capacity, I help turn dreamers into doers from a business aspect, but mainly from the HR aspect. So resume writing, career, anything that got to do with careers, I'm your girl. I'm your girl. So Trina, come on in.
Hey.
And introduce yourself to the people.
Sure. Sorry I'm late, guys. Traffic was a little thick today. But as usual, I am the owner and founder of the Global Next Gen Event Center, and we're located in the heart of Clinton's best kept secret, where you can host your book signings, baby showers, engagement parties. We just had a sip and paint there this past weekend, and so look us up on www.Global Next Gen Event Center, and you can reach me on 202-439-1965.
Sorry, I'm trying to share it, and I'm actually doing it live. So Trina, what did you do this weekend?
Well, actually, this weekend I had pretty much supported one of the events that was at the event center.
Okay. And
then on Sunday, I had my my meeting with my party planning.
Nice.
Yeah, for my 50th.
Yes.
So we're looking forward to that. And also, I want to just give a congratulations to my niece and Jamaya. They had their competition down at the Wyndham. I went down to support them.
Awesome.
Down to win their cheer competition. So congratulations to the girls. So that was about it for the weekend.
For cheerleaders, so for old school sake. No, Trina and I cheered together from junior high school, Hart Junior High School. Trina was the captain of the cheerleading team, and also HD Woodson. So I was playing, telling her to break out in the cheer. But I love cheerleading competition.
And it's funny because we still remember the cheer.
Yes,
we still remember
without
the
a
cheer.
doubt.
That just go to show you don't go anywhere. And of course, my girls cheered for years, and I just have one left who's still kind of in between cheering and transitioning to some other sports. But yeah, we've been doing the cheering game for a long time.
And actually, really, really funny. Remember we did alumni cheer when HD Winston first switched up. I think I still got it, y'all. But anyway, so this weekend, I'm pretty much still trying to get over my illness. I'm getting things together. So I really chilled a lot this weekend. But one of the things that I did do, I finally got a chance to get out to Avery's basketball game.
I just love
it. And it so happened to be the championship, and they won. He is the point guard.
Wow.
So he basically takes it and dribbled it down the court, and he got some swag. So
I just know. I love your grandson. Yes. I tell Martisha that all the time. I'll send Lord messages on social media, but them some little handsome little fellas there.
And likewise, Lil Jace don't even be playing. He's been here before. And hey, Bernie, and Bernie is joining us on the phone.
Bernie not here today.
No, Bernie not here today.
Okay, hey Bernie Byrne.
And Chanay is going to be joining us in studio, so she said she was coming, so we'll do her portion.
Okay.
So as I was saying, Chanay's topic is from credit despair to credit repair.
Okay.
So from her topic, I took the lines of despair to repair, because and it immediately made me think about things that go on in life. And from my aspect, I started thinking of it from the avenue of trust,
Okay.
relationships, and health. So let's start with those three. So again, from despair to repair.
Okay.
So trust. When somebody messes up and you lose their trust, the challenge for repairing it. So despair and trust to repair and trust. So I can honestly say, for me, forgiveness is not an issue for me. I can forgive. But like rebuilding that trust and allowing somebody to be in my close circle, that's not what I can't do that. That's a very serious challenge for me. And I am actually doing I'm praying and I'm asking God to help me and give me guidance for that.
Right.
Because it's two sides to that. As you know, I don't think that God wants us to take on anything and suffer and try to like make a relationship like work. You know, he doesn't want us to be evil, but I don't think that it's meant like that. So what's your take in terms of trust, and how do you feel about that?
I take my trust, like you said, I question that a lot, because we always say, I forgive.
Yes.
I mean, and that can go a long way. And two different people, forgive means many things.
Okay.
So forgive, forget, that's another thing, because you may say you forgive that person, but it's hard to forget it.
Yes.
And
definitely.
with the mind, the mind will always remind you of what has happened. So then that goes back to, did you totally forgive that person? Because it's like a wound. Sometimes a wound that's pretty much being put a band-aid on it, or a wound that's totally healed. But you have to figure out and find out where you are with that total forgiveness to totally heal from it.
Yes.
Then maybe when those thoughts come to your mind, it won't take you back to that beginning point.
So let me play devil's advocate right there.
Okay.
So the same way when you're talking about forgiveness and you're talking about the inability to forget, I totally agree with that. But then you say like the mind. Remember though, your mind and things that happen will make you think of good things and bad.
Good things and bad.
So your mind is not situated only on those good things. So not to forget it, I'm okay with that. And I do believe that people and that you can totally forgive a situation, but then it comes up. Because it may be something that happens that makes you think of it. It can be anything that George, because you know how our mind works.
Right.
Everything links in everything in the entire world links to one another.
Correct.
And for me, of course, because my journey of forgiveness, that was like the hardest thing for me. It was the toughest thing, and I always give a shout out to my pastor, because had I not gone through that forgiveness series at church at Mount Ena, I don't know if I would have even like tried to dive myself totally into it to even learn like the forgiveness part, because before, forgiveness wasn't logical to me. Like, why would I forgive somebody who did something to me? Until I read in the Bible, he told us to continue reading, and we read, and it said God forgives you at the level that you forgive other people.
Right.
Then I had no other choice but to forgive. So when somebody wronged you can forgive, but you don't have to forgive. And it does not mean that you have to have them in your space.
That's so
Just
correct.
because you don't have them in this space, they'll be like, you didn't forgive me. Oh, I forgave you, but I'm not going to, like, this is my space, and I don't want you to be in my space. Yeah. So that's my take. So, Chanay, welcome.
Welcome, Chanay.
Hey. So what we did was we switched the order in which it goes. We took your topic.
Okay.
So your topic was credit despair from credit despair to credit repair. So we took the despair and the repair, and we talked about all different types of stuff. So we just got finished talking about trust. So anything you want to add to trust before we go to relationship?
As far as forgiveness.
As far as forgiveness, and you know what? So that's so. It touches home because I just had an incident with my grandmother that I had been taking care of for 4 years. She had been living in my home. Thank you so much. And I'm not mourning because I was able to give her flowers while she was above ground. And she suffered from Alzheimer's and this dementia. Okay. So I said I will never put her in a home because she would not be able to defend herself against anything. And elderly abuse is real. Yes. So it felt good, even when it was trying, it felt good to be able to give back to someone that has given to me the entire 47 years that I have been here. Right. And so what I found is that her son, who was her power of attorney, her legal guardian, had actually took her money. Okay. So I was so angry. I cursed him up and down once I found out because we had a funeral to plan. We had things to do. And so her funeral still happened without a hitch because my grandmother prepared. So she had prepaid for her funeral back in 1999. She had bought her burial plot back in 1996. So her total amount of her funeral cost was $11,000. She had already paid like $8,000 towards that. So preparation is everything. I want to be so like her. So what he did is she had a $10,000 annuity. He ran into hardship January of this year. Her money was gone. Wow. And then he brought me the power of attorney papers after that. I never signed them because I was taking care of my grandmother. So when I found out about that, I was so angry because I'm like, how could you do that to your mother? But what happened is, it was something. So at the funeral, I got up to speak. And nobody knew what I was going to say. Right. Okay. Because I didn't even know. Okay. But that wasn't the time nor the place. Right. At that point, I totally forgave him for what he did because he has to deal with it. And like you said, exactly. You don't have to deal with them or anything. And I just recently had a conversation with someone that said, just because they're your family does not mean that you have to deal with them. You can forgive them and move on. And I'm at peace.
Yes. That's the main thing. Is being
and that's the thing of understanding. People think that if you forgive somebody, if you're not around them, that you didn't forgive them. Like, that is
so let me ask you this. If you forgive a person and you're not at peace, does that mean you totally forgave that person?
That means you have some work to do with yourself.
It's something going on with that because let me explain to you. When you don't forgive other people, you're hurting yourself. Yeah. Because it's like the thinking, like that person may not even remember, care, or they may not even feel like they did anything wrong. Yep. They moved on with their business, and here you are. Every time you see them, like, So when that's going on, it's probably a case where you haven't forgiven them yet. Because when it gets you like totally, off just at the sight of seeing somebody.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I do understand when you say that some people say they have forgiven and they have not. It definitely takes work. It's not easy to do, but I can tell you, I used to be like, I go to church, but forgiveness is that one sin. Like, God, go ahead and tap me onto it because it doesn't make logical sense, and I can't do it. So that's my sin. Yeah. And then when I went through it, I was able to forgive like this.
And it's a level of maturity. Mindset, and everything.
It changed my entire life.
Exactly.
Like, everybody used to be like, I'm mean. I wasn't mean. But
she was a little cutthroat.
I had a wall.
She was a little cutthroat.
And it was like, don't play with me. Right. You gonna get me, I'm gonna get you back. Exactly. And now, like, I'm not even gonna get back up. You're like, God gonna get you. Like, yeah. So let's just hop about relationships. So again, from despair to repair. So repairing a despaired relationship.
Okay.
So I know we talked about forgiveness, but let's talk about relationships, and it kind of like tied into forgiveness to a degree, because it was trust. And then when Trina said forgiveness, I was like, But so think about relationships on your job. Think about supervisors to employed, and vice versa, your co-workers. Think about your friends. Or so-called friends, associates, or however your however you want to do it. So think about all those type of relationships, and then of course like your family, your spouse, and all of those. So here's my thing. I associate with a lot of people, and in terms of my feelings, and I really, if I connect with you, it's genuine. Right. And whatever we have going on, that's what we have going on. Exactly. And I love hard for my friends, my relationships, like everything I do. I'm normally like all the way in. And even when I try, because I used to not be all the way in, but I'm all the way in, and even when I try not to, I'm all the way in. Right. However, if somebody do something crazy, I can cut you off. Right. I can cut you off and not even be mad at you. Like, actually, we're still okay. But because of some of the activities that you did, I'm very particular about my space. I don't want any negativity. I don't even want to have to be in a situation where I feel like I want to retaliate on somebody. So I want peace, quiet, and serenity. That's where some of my I'm playing. That's the song of home.
I mean, I'm not sure how we doing the phones today. Are they chiming in?
They can. If somebody called, then we'll answer the phone.
Feel free to chime in with.
And I'm watching live, so everybody's like, "Hey, hello." So, hey, what's up? I can see Stephanie, Sherry. Hey, Sherry. Sophia Hill.
Okay.
And Darlene.
Sophia, that's my
hey, Darlene.
Yeah. You in. So, okay, let's go back to, and that goes back to one of the questions I had for today, but we can go in and talk about it. With friendships.
Yes.
Do you all believe in friendship therapy?
Yes. Okay. I believe in every level of therapy.
Right. So, what I do notice, and I guess at our age now, it's more important than anything. I mean, it's more important now than it was back then, because like you said, somebody do something to you, boom, you cut off. But if somebody do something to you now, is our tolerance shorter now? Where it's like, okay, we almost 50 now, so should we still be going through this? Or do you believe in, let's try to work this thing out? Meaning whether it takes a counselor, it takes some type of therapist, or a third party to step in to try to work this thing out. Whereas we may feel like, okay, we should have covered this earlier 20-something years ago.
Yeah.
So where are you at with that? Like,
so in long-term relationship, so I can honestly say with all of my long-term friends, I don't have any lingering issues. So you already know
that has been addressed.
Yeah, you already know. Like, we're long-term friends.
Exactly.
Any disagreements that we have, we talk to them, like, regardless of what. Because I can't sit there and hold a conversation with somebody, but be holding something in, and then every time they do something over again, it makes me like extremely mad. Okay. So, and I also don't think that that because a relationship has distance to it, that it is more impactful in terms of like taking away from you. Right. So I'm not going to say not to work with. What I mean is, how does that relationship make you feel? If something makes you feel bad and you don't like how you feel when you're in this relationship, I don't care how long it is, then it might not really be a relationship worth keep on doing it, or in the magnitude that you're doing it. Because you can have a relationship with somebody and not necessarily be together every day, all the time. You have different friends and different relationships that address several different issues for you. So you have somebody you can shop with, somebody who got taste. You got somebody who you can give an ear to that went through something. You have a friend who has a wonderful marriage or something, and they may be able to give you some counseling in that area. So you just have to like really evaluate all of your relationships and make sure that nothing is draining you. Because if something is draining you, draining you, then that's not good for you. That's not good. That's not good for you.
So what's your take, Chanay?
I believe now, like you said, we're all approaching, nifty 50. And the most important thing, what I've learned in this journey called life, is that I have the choice.
Yes.
If I want it in my life or if I don't. And right now, peace of mind is the most important thing.
Mine too.
And I can have a best friend that gets on my nerves, but if that person offers me some form of peace, that's my heart. I love them to death, and nobody else has to deal with them. I can also have a best friend that I cannot deal with, but on certain levels. Like they all have a specific place, and it's, you know, when I choose to deal with them, how I'm feeling. Like I know that I have a particular friend that's gonna call me. We gonna chit chat every morning while she's going to work. Like it's like, you know, it kind of gets into a rhythm with everything.
So Darlene, hey Darlene, Darlene said I can act like they don't even exist. And then she also said, toxic ain't worth it for me. What's the purpose? I'm too old for that.
That's
exactly.
it.
Exactly. Like anything that makes you feel like your life is peace. Peace. Anything that takes away from my peace, like this on that, I cannot do it.
So y'all saying that one that's just on that fence with that piece. Now, I mean, she's your headache, she's your this and that, but like you said, love of the life, love of the pieces. What do? Do you let that go, or you still try to work with that because you know?
So you got some homework to do. Cause let's put on our therapy hat for you. But like honestly, you have to understand. There's a reason why you're holding on to that relationship,
right?
And evidently, it's not all bad. It's not all 100%. So the good pieces of it, that's where you mold that piece of it, and the other pieces of it, you steer away from that.
Kind of let go.
Okay, so I have a question for you guys, and this hit home and it hurts. Like last week we talked about the integrity thing, right?
Yes.
Okay, so the loyalty. Okay, so again, people use this word loyalty I guess at their own convenience.
Right.
They
interpret it differently.
Everybody's interpretation is different with the loyalty thing. Where you are with that, with the loyalty thing, and the reason why I'm asking, because I'm trying to understand this this thing called friendships, when to let go, and things like that. Because if everybody who's watching the show that know me, I'm gonna hold on to the whole room. You know, I'm the glue to the whole room. That's just I don't like a lot of chaos.
Right.
I don't like a lot of back and forth. So, and I would take ownership if I ever did you wrong, or if I did things the wrong way. But loyalty, I definitely want to know where I was disloyal to you, or where you felt I was disloyal to, and is it correctly for you to say that I was disloyal? So with loyalty, what is loyalty for? I'm gonna start with you, Chanay. What is loyalty with you?
Loyalty for me in any type of relationship is honesty. Honest communication.
I like that.
I may not agree with what you say or how you feel, but I'm going to be loyal enough to you and to our friendship, our relationship, to tell you if I agree with you or if I don't agree with you. And I'm going to let you know on the points that I do agree with you and the points that I don't agree with you, and say, well, listen, maybe you should look at it from this point of view, or maybe you should look at it from this way. And if we are truly friends, I should be able, and you should be able to say to me, we should be able to say to each other what we truly feel, and you know it's coming from a place of love and integrity and from my heart. And know that I'm only telling you this, something negative or something you don't want to hear, because the world doesn't care about your feelings. So how they may react to something that you say or something that you do, they may not do it with tender love and care, like I'm going to deliver it to you. And I'm going to deliver it to you, and we going to go and we going to have some crabs or get a Pepsi and laugh and joke and be done with it.
Yeah. Okay. So before I answer, Linda Epps, she says, I only allow people in my life who are an asset. If you're a liability, you must go. So I wholeheartedly agree with the points that Chanay made. So I won't duplicate or double over that in the terms of like friendship. We had a discussion about loyalty at work. Different topic. Same standards in terms of what you said. And the one thing that I will elaborate on, and it's the same thing that Keith talked about, and I was talking about when we talked about like relationships. When I talked about it from a woman's standpoint, he said it from a man's standpoint. If you have a friend, a real friend, you should be able to communicate and talk about anything and talk through anything. If ever at a point your honesty that you're saying, it can't be accepted or they can't take it, then I don't know, it might be an issue. And I'll say, like, up front, like, I know that I can be very direct and I'm very honest. And sometimes as we going through like the sugar coating, I don't have that much sugar. I don't have that much sugar.
I think I got too much sugar.
And I mean with everything, I mean it out the cadence of my heart that I'm trying to help somebody. I don't say it directly or whatever to hurt anybody. Never does it come from a negative aspect. But I'm going to tell you the truth. That's just like me saying, baby, go ahead and sing on American Idol, and you can't sing.
Right. It's like, you knew I couldn't sing.
Yeah.
Sit me up here.
And Darlene says loyalty doesn't equal length. How about it?
That is so true.
How about it?
That's so true.
How about it?
That's a nice little honesty.
How about it?
I like the honesty. I like the length because a lot of times that's what people base it on. We've been friends forever.
But you've been draining me forever. Or you've been using me forever. You've been abusing this friendship forever.
And don't get me wrong, some long friendships are good.
Right.
Like, and when Trey Martina winning for nothing in the world. But you know what I mean? But that's
deep.
That's
It's deep. It's real, and that's something I think we all should reevaluate. And people are using this loyalty thing to their own convenience.
Yeah, it's everything is up for interpretation.
If they don't want to hear what you guys say, if they don't hear the honesty, okay, so you're not being loyal.
Right,
right.
If I don't handle things the way you will handle it,
right, I'm not a yes man.
Right.
Yeah, so it's real, and I think that's something that, you know, we need to self-evaluate with this friendship thing. And stop taking it so lightly, because believe it or not, I hate to say, at 50, the patience is getting short. The tolerance is getting shorter. The patience is getting shorter, and things that we feel is a little too toxic.
It don't contribute to my peace.
Yeah,
I finally found peace. If anybody trying to take away from my peace, they can step off.
Yeah,
they can step off. Like, that's like vital and important to me.
It is.
So so that was a great topic.
Yeah.
So of course we got Chanay here, our credit diva. So for the remainder show, we're gonna talk about from credit despair to credit repair.
Okay.
And then after that, we're going to talk about what the rap game taught us about money.
Okay.
We're going to do a little rapping up in here. And then more money, more problems. We're going to dig into that a little bit.
Yeah.
So, Chanay, welcome back. Happy New Year.
I know, right?
Oh, my
gracious.
We haven't seen this since New Year.
Right, because in January I was on the call.
Yeah.
I did it over the phone.
Yes.
And then I was out on February because of my grandma.
Yes.
So, yes.
So glad to see you in the flesh.
So glad to be back.
And I'm hoping my cousin chimed in, because he's been trying to catch you.
So
Okay.
send him a message. Who is it?
I'm going to dive under here to get my phone.
So go ahead, Chanay. Take it
Well,
away.
hello guys. Welcome. I'm so glad to be back. Month is actually National Credit Awareness Month.
Oh, wow.
So on the topic of from credit despair to credit repair, and it being National Credit Awareness Month, I just wanted to equip you guys. I'm ready to take any questions that you may have. We need to pull up the question from Instagram.
Okay.
That we got this morning.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
But if you have any questions regarding credit in any aspect, just hit us up here, give us a phone call. But I wanted to give you guys just some personal nuggets to help you with your credit and things that you need to do to get on the right track, because it's never too late. And like I always tell folks, you know, money talks, but credit holds a conversation. And we need to get out of the habit of thinking of credit as a debt, because you can build wealth with credit if you do it the right way. And if you use it sensibly, it can actually put money into your pocket. Okay. And so the first
more money. No,
yes, my first nugget is excellent credit. I want you all to know is obtainable for the average. Growing up, I was under the misconception that, you know, if you grew up in the inner city and if you didn't start out with perfect credit, or if you didn't have money, then there was no way that you could actually have, you know, perfect credit. Perfect credit, I want you all to know also, is just the first step. Perfect credit is the first step. Maintaining perfect credit is the goal.
Yeah.
So the first step is to get to the perfect credit. Maintaining it is the goal, and it starts in your mind. Everything starts in the mind. It's a mindset, because you have to be mature enough to maintain that 750 or higher credit score, because once you start you get that 750 or higher credit score, you're going to start being pre-approved for different things. And I also wanted to let you know that pre-approved does not mean approved, okay? And I'm going to touch on that in a second. But you're going to start getting these offers in the mail, and you're going to be like, oh my goodness, I never received this. They want me. MasterCard wants me. This person wants me. Capital One. And you start applying for stuff. Remember, that stuff has to be paid back, guys. Okay? So once you charge it, you have to pay that back, okay? Number 2, pay your bills on time. Your payment history is the largest, it's 35%, it's the largest measuring factor of your credit score. It means that is the most important item to focus on. Not the inquiries, not building up new credit, because they are actually slightly lower percentages. Like your inquiries is only 10%. It makes up 10% of your credit score. Now, of course, you don't want to go out and get a whole bunch of inquiries. You're applying for things. They really want you only to have like maybe 2 to 3 inquiries a year.
Wow.
And that's how those that have excellent credit, that's how they maintain excellent credit. Because if you're out going and you're applying for this, you're applying for that, those creditors, they have access to a lot of different information. It's like, okay, well, Ladrine just went over here last week and applied for a loan. What happened? Why is she trying to apply for all of these loans? They sit and they ask themselves some questions before, and just because you have an excellent credit score does not mean that you're going to always be guaranteed.
Right. So one of the questions, I'm sorry, Trina. One of the questions I have, so what if you're getting ready to buy a new car and you wanted to see who has the best interest rate? So we'll go to Navy Federal, we'll go to the dealership actual funding, and maybe something else. Does that count? That's like 3 different.
Like the same credit. That same type of.
Well, what happens is, if you're going to go, you definitely want to shop around, and you want to get the best rate. But before you actually apply, you want to go on those websites and see what are they offering for this amount of credit. Because if you read the fine print, they'll tell you, like it'll say, like, I never forget for a Lexus commercial, it's like they always say for well-qualified buyers. Okay. Your finance rate, or we give this money back, or 1.2% financing for well-qualified buyers. Okay. Read the fine print, because you may well be a well-qualified buyer, but we don't take the time. We're so much in a rush. Okay. Do your homework. Go online on their website. Navy Federal gives you the percentage rates. The rates. Okay. For different loans that you want to approve for and everything, and so read, and it'll tell you what your score needs to be.
Okay. Now I have a question. Like, when you go into the dealer, and they shop for you a loan as well. So that part is beyond your control. When you put in that application, they're putting in 4 or 5 different.
They do, and it was actually a person that already knew what they wanted as far as like their financing, and they said, try me here, don't run my credit multiple times. They still did it because they're trying to get you the best deal. Exactly. Okay. It's going to happen. You can dispute it, but that's only, the inquiries are only 10% of your credit score. So, you will take a hit, but what you can do is, if you take you get pre-approved or you get funding from your bank, your credit union, take that letter there. You don't even need to touch my credit score, Mr. Auto salesman, because this is the financing that I'm using. And a lot of times when you get pre-approval or you have the funds from a credit union, they are the best. They are the best because their percentage rate and everything is in stone. Most car dealerships, they don't negotiate when you bring in something from your credit union, because it's like, these are the terms, this is what's going to pay, this is what we're paying for this vehicle, because they're getting all of their cash up front.
Now I will say that in my daughter's case, which it could have been a rare case, but we were able to prove that she was approved with the credit union. So the dealer, they went above and beyond. So she ended up walking away with the 0 interest.
That's awesome.
And that's great.
And things like that. So it can happen, but it's just like you said, you have to be on point with your score, your credit history, and things like that. So
I'm gonna let you go through your points, because we do have a question on the phone and then the one from Instagram. So go ahead.
And so number 3, your debt to income ratio is best. They say no more than 30%, but what I try to teach folks is 10%. Do 10% because 10%. You don't want any questions. You don't want anything that might tip you over, because anything could happen. So like the layoffs when they happen. But if your debt to income ratio was at 10% and then something happened and you fell into despair, you had that cushion of 20%, whereas though your credit score is not going to be adversely affected.
That's good. That's
so go far and beyond the 30%. Try to minimize as much as you can. And I recommend that everybody invest in a bill organizer or a reminder system. So whether it's a calendar pop-up or anything like that, because when you have it written down and you see and you have the dates or you have a pop-up reminder, it triggers you to say, okay, well, this is what I have to pay out this time. This is what I have to pay out with this paycheck. This is what's going out the beginning of the month and things of that nature. And no matter how big or how small the bill is, because you might have your $14 Audible subscription that you forget about. Write everything down and put a reminder for everything, because that's what happens when little things slip through the cracks. Whereas though causes like your bills or anything, or may make your account negative or anything like that. And with the new FICO scoring system that is allowing folks to use their checking accounts as part of their history, if they don't have a lot of history, they're going to use they're allowing you to use your checking account. So it all depends on how much money you have in the bank at any given moment. They want you to have at least $500 at all times, any given moment, and how many negatives you've had between a certain amount of time. So for those that don't have the credit history or they have an established credit, they are allowing you to use your
bank account.
Your bank account.
Is there anything else? Are they allowing anything else?
Not right now.
Okay.
And so, but that way they, because they want to get a financial picture. Okay. And so for those people that use cash for everything, that's not where it is, because when you go to finance a car, I have no history on how you pay your bills.
Yeah.
Unless you got that paper where you don't need to finance something.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
So even like Supercent, who owns the crayon case, she actually had the money. Remember, she made $1 million on Black Friday. No. What was it?
Someday, but go ahead.
Yeah, so she made $1 million in 90 minutes. And then she just did it again, whereas though I think in an hour and a half she made 1 point something million with her products on Instagram. She had the cash money to go and buy her warehouse, but that's where loyalty came in, and her best friend, the real big booty Judy, came in and said, listen, you have the cash, but don't do it that way. Finance it. finance it because you're able to build wealth.
Yes.
You're able to build your wealth. So even if you do have the cash, finance it if you have that score that can support it.
Distraction alert. Sorry, go ahead.
And most importantly, a lot of people don't know this, but know your credit score. Check on it regularly. And Credit Karma and all of those other ones, they give it to you. You know, they're good for measuring so that you kind of know what it is. But with Credit Karma and all of those, the Vanguard scoring system versus FICO, they give you 6 factors for measuring your credit, whereas though FICO only gives you 5. So that's why a lot of times your Credit Karma score, your Credit Karma score might be a little bit higher than your FICO score because Credit Karma and those, they give you credit for collections paid.
Okay, Credit Karma give you.
Whereas though FICO doesn't.
Okay.
So that's why, like, it's kind of different. Like, where you might say, well, Credit Karma said my score was this, but then FICO said that it was this. And that's because they are scoring on 6 factors, whereas though FICO is only scoring on 5 factors.
Okay, so in one of the upcoming shows, can we do a comparison from them so you can break those out? That was that's very good. So you ready for a question?
Yep, I'm ready.
So question number 1: after 7 years. Oh, this is a statement. After 7 years, you can request Equifax to remove the creditors off your credit report.
Why wait 7 years? Why wait 7 years? Because if you check your credit report, there are so many errors on your credit report. And the key is to have a credit monitoring system, such as myfico.com, that gives you all 3 credit reports by side. And legally, you can't really dispute anything that comes from MyFICO or from Credit Karma, even though they have the button to say click here to dispute it. What happens is that's the starting point. And what we do is we send the letter for them to verify or to validate or to investigate these items that I have found on my credit report that are not 100% correct. Please send me my credit report in the mail. Once they send you all 3 of your credit reports in the mail from each of the credit bureaus, because those credit monitoring companies are third party. It's hearsay. It's he say, she say.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So once you get your actual credit report in your hand, then that's when the real dispute process comes into play. Because this date and this date and this date are all incorrect.
Okay.
Disputed.
Yeah. Okay. That's very good.
So
you heard it.
Okay, go ahead.
So the Instagram question, AshMom89. Should we... No, that was that. Her question is, when you pay down all your debts and your credit score has risen, now what? What do you do with your excellent credit?
Use it to build wealth. Invest. So if you have your excellent credit score and you have your house, you have your car, you are financially stable, what so many people do nowadays to build wealth is they take that excellent credit score and they go and purchase a rental property. Put it on Airbnb. Use your excellent credit to purchase a rental property. Put it on Airbnb, and then you can do it in different states. Put it on Airbnb in a tourist section or by the hotels. Compete with them. Your mortgage, let's say your mortgage is $1,500 a month. What you can do is you can rent out your home. People will come online, rent out your home, and they have paid your mortgage 3 and 4 times. Also, you can do the same thing with vehicles. I know people that have used their credit to buy a fleet of new cars, trucks, SUVs, because when people come now, it's a competition. They don't want to go to Hertz. They don't want to go to Avis. They go to Trillo, and they rent your vehicle. Let's say for $500 for the weekend or for the week. Your car payment might be $700. You rent your car out and make it available for for every month, that car can generate you $2,000, $1,500 in equity in your vehicle. You can pay your car payment 2 or 3 times a month,
insurance,
building up your credit score, keeping that excellent credit score, but also making money. Once we get out of the mind frame that credit is a debt and that you can actually build, use other people's money. That's what credit does. Money talks, credit holds a conversation.
I always be thinking you be about to say BS. Well, okay. That's my mindset.
I have a question about, you have another question?
So I have another question, and then we'll take trainers in the comments. So Darlene said, I didn't realize there were different FICO scores.
There are. And that's why I recommend that you use myfico.com because it gives you the different scores. It gives you the different requirements for the different industries and what your score is and what it needs to be, what it should be. Now, it's about $40 a month, but it is well worth it.
Okay. And then Mike Sims has a question. Hey, Mike, you've been chiming in for a couple of shows.
You on the show,
right? Does that mean Credit Karma score is better than FICO?
It does not, and that is because the industries do not use Vanguard, they use FICO. So you want your FICO score to be up in 750 or higher.
Okay.
Wow, FICO score. Okay, so can you kind of explain in the real estate world? Now, to my understanding, there's a different scoring for real estate. Can you kind of explain that to
Yeah, because real estate, what they do is they dig deep. When you go for a mortgage, when they pull your report for mortgage, they pull some stuff that you're like, what in the world did they get that from?
Right.
So they have different algorithms that they use.
Okay.
But and they tell you that you only need, a 580 for
FHA.
Yeah, for a mortgage. A 620 is what they want you to have, and they'll tell you, it's only going to be like a point or whatever difference in, the percentage rate versus someone that has a 750 or anything like that. But after 30 years, that small amount of a percentage actually can equal a fortune. So you want to do everything that you can to be at your best. You don't want anything, and let me just tell you this, that once you start the mortgage process with your credit score, do not do anything else to your credit. Don't even pay off a collection, because everything affects you negatively before it affects you positively. Right. I have a family member that had like $150 medical collection. She was approved for a loan for a specific program. They said, okay, you're approved. We got you in. But just take care of this minor balance of $157. She paid it. It knocked her out of the program. It dropped her points 40. It dropped her score 40 points before it raised it 60.
So why did it drop it 40 points?
Because whenever you do any activity, it's going to drop you. It's going to affect you negatively before it affects you positively.
So when you pay off your bills, you get your score where it needs to be, and then you feel like your score is stuck. Is it best to leave it stuck? Meaning, it's good. We got approved for the loan, but I want to kind of get my score up some more. Should you just leave it
not until you sign them papers at the title company.
Okay. Now,
so, of course, you don't want to do anything. You continue to pay your bills on time and everything else,
right.
But you don't want to do anything
different.
Okay.
All right.
Nope.
So thank you. Any last minute words before we switch over to our last topic?
Just get out of the mindset of thinking of credit as being a debt. I'm here and I'm going to share with you guys, and I'm going to enlighten you and help you, and also bring you information for different investments that you can use, because for our community, it's all about knowledge being power, but applied knowledge being power, and it's things that you can implement and use on a right now basis.
Okay.
So
thank you. And I know you ran into the situation with your grandmother, and again, may she rest in peace. But I know that you are starting a program, so we will look forward to that program so that everyone can sign up and raise up them credit scores together.
Mindset mastery.
Yeah.
It's coming your way.
So you're going to kind of go into detail with that next week?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, week after, I'll be here the end of the month.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, our last topics are grouped together. More money, more problems. So that's the Notorious B.I.G. Rest in peace. And then also, what the rap game taught us about money.
Okay.
So basically, I zoned in on Jay-Z. So we know from the album that he dropped 444, and he was spitting knowledge on that. And I mean, I like Jay-Z, he alright, but I wasn't all into it like that. But when he dropped 444, I started listening to it, picking up some pieces to it, and I was like, excuse me, Trina, I think but I was like, this is powerful. This is powerful. So a couple things like from that album alone. So the first thing he talked about was focus on making investments that bring lasting wealth. So his whole statement, I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman. So basically, in this line, he's talking about the various ways that he has become that Renaissance businessman. He took that money, the street money, turned into the rap game money, then he turned it into a business. Now, the whole thing that Steve Harvey was talking about crumbling, he don't have to worry about it. So his integrity can be impacted. And so is his kids are debt free. They not even like
generation and generation to come.
Debt free.
That's exactly.
Yeah. And then one of the other things is like his famous line when he talks about, I could have bought a place in Dumbo before it was Dumbo for like $2 million. That same building today is worth $25 million. Guess how I'm feeling? Dumbo.
Yeah.
Basically, talking about investments, we hesitate and we wait. As you were talking about, when you get that extra money and the things that you can do to start now, we always think that when we think of wealth, we think of having money in our bank account. We don't think about how to flip it and make it grow, especially when we're not even touching it or using it now. So it's a whole mindset in terms of what you said with that. And then number 3 is think about generational wealth.
There you go.
So that goes to the whole song of legacy. And at the end of it, Daddy, what's a will?
Right.
Like, Blue on that, she already made her $1 million from just spitting that one line. But it goes into him giving that whole strong message about general wealth. Understanding that you are putting your kids in place to put their kids in place and so on by putting like a penny on something now. And you can't have it to ever grow from that standpoint.
Exactly.
And then he also talks about the whole aspect that generational wealth, that's the key. And then my parents ain't had, so that started with me. So he talks about just because you didn't come from someone who handed you something down, and just because you know something where you started from what you worked with, that doesn't mean that you started. You started from your paycheck and saving a little bit of it. So it's the whole mindset where we think that it takes a lot to make a lot.
Right.
You gotta start with what you have.
Start somewhere.
And we keep saying the mindset. That's the power in everything that goes on. And then he talked about some things in his older, some of his older songs. So one of the things that they talked about is how he talked about all the cars and everything that he used to buy. So it was, I bought every V12 engine. Wish I could take it back to the beginning. I could have bought a place in Dumbo. So that's where he talks about the ending part of that. But at the beginning of it, he talks about all these cars that he had. He had so many cars that he couldn't even drive them. He talked about the millions of dollars that he spent on cars. So that's another thing, materialistic thing.
Because we haven't made it until we can drive this, or we can do this, or we have this, or we're wearing this. And that's all fine, but it comes with maturity.
Exactly.
And I think everybody that is where they are now, him, Diddy, Jermaine Dupri, they had to go through that to appreciate what they have now, and to teach the generations, and to teach our kids, our generations, because Lord knows my son will listen to JD in the rap game before he'll listen to me, but he won't really absorb it from me. So the fact that I have somebody that he listens to, or he respects, or he's on their level, and say, well, JD said do this because it's cool, or Jay-Z said do this because it's cool, and that works in alignment with what I'm trying to teach them, that is excellent. Like my one guy said to me, he said, you know, Jeezy is on the record and he's talking about this and killing this and selling this and so forth and so on. He said, but Jeezy's son just graduated. He made sure his son was okay. So that persona that they have out there, but I love the fact that so many of them are changing their message to positive. Because even though they didn't want to be a role model, that's what you are. You are cultivating a community. You're cultivating like the next generation of adults. So it's your responsibility. Even if that's not what you signed up for, it's yours.
It's yours. It's yours. And believe it or not, like, I find it hard that they can concentrate with they got the heads on and they listening to the rap music, but they can't concentrate if they don't have it in the ears. You know what I'm saying? And when they listen to it, I'm like, how are you able to do your homework and you listen to it? But like you said, it's just a change in the times. That's what they identify with. That gets the way they got it. So, you know, definitely the role model that you didn't think you were going to be, you are. You are that role model. And
everybody is a role model, whether they want to think about it or not. And it can be from a negative standpoint. You can be a negative role model. People are looking at you and seeing what you're doing and emulating what you're doing, especially the little ones. So so the more money, more problem. So that one has always been like a little tricky one. Like more money, more problems. When I didn't have money, I had problems. So I'm trying to so let's talk through that a little bit. And of course, rest in peace to Notorious B.I.G. The anniversary of his death was this weekend. So his popular song, More Money, More Problems. So in terms of it, how he breaks it down, well, he's like really explaining how money and success from him, his upbringing, trying to transition, you know, and still being seen as that rapper in the rap game can lead to problems. So he talked about, you know, the DA and everybody watching him and people like being hot and snitching on him because he had money. So from that, people jealousy and tried to bring them down. So that's what he's talking about in terms of the attacks and the new, how it just added up the more money that they got. So let's talk about it from the non-rap world. So more money, more problems. How do you feel about that?
I mean, again, when you make more money, you feel like you can spend more money. You go out here, you buy, you overextend yourself. Then before you know it, I mean, because things gonna happen, reality will hit, and situations may come into part, but okay, there your problem go. Okay, so what do I pay here? Or what do I let go? And things like that. So it depends again. It depends on how you handle it. Your more money. How you handle your more money.
That's it. So Miss Financial Credit Diva, like what you?
Well, for me, my aspect of it is, I got one. Like when you, like more money, more problems. Like, okay, he's able to go out, you're able to purchase this, you're able to floss, but now, sweetie, you are in a totally different tax bracket.
Yes.
So you're paying more taxes, you got more responsibility.
I remember when I first shifted to I was like, what the what?
More money.
No more this, no more that.
Yes, it took me, when I made more money, it took me a minute to make more money. Y'all get that? I'm about to make a rap.
I don't see it.
When I first made more money, it was like the taxes, because I had went to a different tax rate. So my take-home pay was like a little teeny bit less.
Exactly.
But then when you get to a level within that, but when you at the beginning of that tax rate, it's like, oh my God.
I'm gonna use
so we got to do your question real quick.
For example, with real estate, had about 4 or 5 properties at one time because I could get it.
Right,
want more. But when that market hit, look what happened.
That's it.
More problems. More problems. We had to figure out rental property, what to do with this tenant, and this and that.
Yes.
So that's a prime
that was like a
example.
boom. That was a boom boom.
It was a boom boom.
Yeah.
So it's all in the mindset.
So we at that time. So what's your question?
You
So
know,
y'all know
since we
at
talk
the end we do a little girls tea time. So what's
So
your
the tea
question?
time is we talking about the rap.
Right.
So give me yours for back in the day. I mean,
My favorite.
yours. We got Biggie. We got Tupac. We got what? LL. Who we got?
I'm going all the way back. Y'all already know mine. Salt and pepper.
Okay.
Mine, honestly, and and shout out to Tupac. Our birthday is the same day, June 16th. I love you to death. But out of those 4 that you named, my favorite all-time rapper is Jay-Z. But you know who I love that to me is underrated? Who? Jadakiss. Jadakiss spit.
But also, so if we have to go to the hospital, I had to get Salt and Pepper then shout out and some of the other females. But if we have to go, Jay-Z, lyrically, amazing to me. Lyrically, amazing to me.
His delivery is
amazing
on point.
to me.
Right.
And that's why I love him, because the stuff that he spits, it's like, in Jadakiss too. Jadakiss. He is so underrated, but I love him. And Cassidy is a bomb.
See, I
don't know Cassidy.
You know, he from Philly. I'm a hustler. I'm a.
Oh yeah. You got
He said he made it a good song. He said he made it a good line, but I made it a good song.
So Shannon said MC Light. Yes, indeed.
Okay.
I was about to say my girl Light. That was my girl.
So hey everybody, so again, we come to the end of our show. It's like the end. But thanks everybody for joining. Hey Michelle. Hey Cheryl. Hey Cheryl. So you gotta come on our show. But thanks everybody for joining in. It was a great show, and Chanay will be back killing it, walking us through all the steps for credit. We're about to pull this thing up. If you already got a good credit, we're gonna make it better. If you're in despair, what you gonna do?
I'm gonna repay him.
Yes,
that's right. And make sure you drop your questions in the box for the week after next.
Yes, doubling up for us.
Okay.
So, ladies, y'all know how we do it every end of the show. Can we? Let's